Rodrigo on Arsenal's radar as £55 million deals wrapped up. Gunners dream of summer deadline finale. Arsenal's summer transfer window is heating up as the club finalises a flurry of big money moves. And there's a growing belief that more surprises could be in store before Monday, September 1st. The Gunners have already made headlines by completing £55 million worth of transfers, with key deals involving Piero Hincapié and Jakub Kiwior now in place. Kiwior is set to join Porto on loan for the 2025-26 season, with an obligation to buy. That move clears the path for Hincapié's arrival from Bayer Leverkusen, a transfer that's already considered a strategic masterstroke by Arsenal sporting director, Andrea Berta. Football.London understands that Kiwior's loan includes a £45 million option to buy, and the player is expected to undergo his medical this weekend. Despite spending over £250 million this summer, Arsenal could still be in the market for new signings, and without paying another major transfer fee, thanks to Berta's clever manoeuvring. This financial finesse could unlock room for even more additions before the window slams shut. Over the next 48 hours, offloading players will be a top priority. Mikel Arteta is keen to trim the squad and rebalance the books after such significant investment. Reiss Nelson, Oleksandr Zinchenko, and Fovio Vieira are all reportedly on the transfer list. Interest in the trio has been limited in recent months, but that may be changing. Nelson has attracted attention from Fulham, while German and Italian clubs are monitoring Zinchenko. Stuttgart is in active talks for Vieira, especially now that they've secured a £69 million windfall from Nick Woltemade's move to Newcastle. The German side had previously balked at Arsenal's £25 million asking price, but with fresh funds in hand, the deal could quickly reignite. Meanwhile, West Ham has reportedly entered the race for Vieira, according to Sky Sports Germany's Florian Plettenberg, as they seek reinforcements ahead of the deadline. Nelson could return to Fulham, but the West London club is also targeting AC Milan's Samuel Chukwueze and Shakhtar Donetsk's winger Kevin. Crystal Palace, however, has already opened negotiations for Nelson, and a £15 million deal has been discussed, per Football.London. As for Zinchenko, Marseille is said to be exploring a move, valued at around £15 million according to The Athletic. However, the Ukrainian's hefty wages could complicate any permanent transfer. Should Arsenal succeed in moving Nelson, Zinchenko, and Vieira, potentially to Palace, Marseille, and Stuttgart, respectively, the club could pivot back into the market for a late signing. And that signing might just be Rodrigo. The Real Madrid forward is reportedly keen on securing regular minutes ahead of next year's World Cup. With a move to Manchester City looking unlikely, especially after Savigno's proposed transfer to Tottenham fell through, a loan to Arsenal could become a very real possibility. For Arsenal fans dreaming of one last blockbuster before the window closes, Rodrigo could be the name to watch. Deadline drama. Arsenal's transfer window reaches critical stage amid Rodrigo uncertainty. With the transfer window ticking toward its final hours, Arsenal remains at the centre of several major storylines, and a move for Real Madrid star Rodrigo is still hanging in the balance. Sources close to the situation indicate that Real Madrid could be open to parting ways with Rodrigo for a fee between €80 million and €90 million. Although he's not officially listed for sale, the club may consider offers if the player signals a desire to leave. The Brazilian forward, looking for consistent minutes ahead of next year's World Cup, is reportedly evaluating his options, especially with increasing competition for places at Madrid. However, Arsenal are not alone in their pursuit. Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain are also monitoring the situation closely, which has created a sense of urgency at the Emirates. Spurs are even rumoured to be preparing a substantial bid that could test Madrid's resolve. Meanwhile, some within the Rodrigo camp, including his father and agent, have publicly stated the player intends to stay, at least until the Club World Cup. Despite this, Arsenal remain quietly confident. The club views Rodrigo as a game-changing addition who could bring technical flair, versatility, and goal-scoring depth to their front line, complementing Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Still, a deal of this magnitude depends heavily on outgoing transfers. Arsenal are actively working to offload several players in the final 48 hours of the window to both balance the squad and meet financial fair play regulations. Reiss Nelson, Oleksandr Zinchenko, Fovio Vieira, and Albert Sambi Lokonga are all potential departures. Talks with clubs like Crystal Palace, Marseille, and Stuttgart are ongoing. Stuttgart, in particular, is believed to have renewed interest in Vieira after securing funds from a major sale earlier this week. Nelson has been targeted by Premier League and European sides, and Zinchenko is weighing up a potential move abroad, though his salary remains a sticking point in negotiations. If Arsenal can finalise at least 2 or 3 key exits, it may unlock the financial flexibility required to pursue Rodrigo, whether through a permanent transfer or an initial loan with an option to buy. Strategic implications for Arsenal. Sporting, Rodrigo's arrival would raise the level of Arsenal's attack significantly, adding both creativity and experience at the elite level. He fits seamlessly into Arteta's system and could rotate across all forward positions. Tactical options. With injuries and a demanding fixture list ahead, a deep attacking unit is essential. Rodrigo's ability to play on either wing or centrally gives Arteta crucial flexibility. Financial management. The club has already spent over £250 million this window. Pulling off one more major signing, without violating financial fair play, would reflect smart squad and budget planning. Long-term vision. A player of Rodrigo's profile aligns with Arsenal's youth-focused, high-upside recruitment strategy. He's a long-term asset who can contribute immediately. As the deadline nears, every decision counts. Arsenal are playing a delicate game, balancing ambition with discipline, and timing with opportunity. Whether Rodrigo becomes the final piece of this summer's puzzle or not, the coming hours promise to be some of the most decisive of Mikel Arteta's tenure. Zubimendi's costly error undoes Arsenal's fight. Player ratings versus Liverpool. Arsenal left Anfield empty-handed after a hard-fought battle against Liverpool, with a moment of brilliance from Dominic Szoboszlai and a crucial mistake from Martin Zubimendi ultimately deciding the match. Despite determined efforts from several Arsenal stars, the result was a harsh reminder that even the smallest lapse can be punished at this level. Mikel Arteta opted for a more cautious approach in one of the toughest away fixtures of the season, and that strategy seemed justified early on. The Gunners looked compact and disciplined, even after losing William Saliba to injury just minutes into the match. Christian Mosquera stepped in admirably, and Arsenal held their ground well in the first half. Liverpool did have the ball in the back of the net in the second half, but Cody Gakpo was ruled offside. Arsenal created flashes of danger but failed to generate clear-cut chances. That lack of cutting edge was punished when Szoboszlai fired in a stunning 32-yard free kick, leaving David Raya with no chance. Here's how Arsenal's players rated on the day. David Raya, 6. A heart-in-mouth moment early on when he lost the ball to Virgil van Dijk, which could have been disastrous. Recovered with a brilliant long ball to Majuk that nearly resulted in a goal. Could do little about Szoboszlai's thunderbolt. Jurriën Timber, 7. Wanted a penalty after a tangle with McAllister but didn't get the call. Technically sharp, especially on the right flank, where he repeatedly beat his man and defended well against Gakpo. His crucial block in the 72nd minute was a highlight. William Saliba, NA. Substituted early with a suspected left foot injury. A worrying sign for Arsenal. Gabriel Magalhaes, 7. Took the captain's armband and led a young backline with composure. Strong in duels and vocal throughout. Had to shoulder more responsibility following Saliba's injury. Ricardo Calafiori, 7. Frequently stepped into midfield to add numbers and carried the ball with confidence. Came close with a volley and a header. Made 2 vital defensive stops to deny Salah in quick succession. Immense composure in high-pressure moments. Martin Zubimendi, 6. Some beautiful passes, including a clever ball to Majuk in the first half. Broke up play well in midfield but lacked the dynamism seen in previous outings. Unfortunately, his foul led directly to Liverpool's winning goal, a costly moment in an otherwise decent performance. Declan Rice, 7. Intercepted well early on to snuff out danger. Set pieces weren't up to his usual standard, but his second-half block to deny Salah a clear shot on goal showed his value in big moments. Mikel Merino, 6. Lost possession in a dangerous area early but was bailed out by Rice. Worked hard to control midfield, but his presence slightly restricted Jayoka's ability to influence the attack. Noni Majuk, 7. One of Arsenal's more lively players going forward. Tested the keeper with a volley and created a few moments of excitement. Was regularly a threat on the right, using his pace to good effect. Gabriel Martinelli, 6.5. Had a promising chance to release Jayokas but held on too long and lost the moment. Made up for it with his relentless defensive work, tracking back tirelessly. Victor Jayokas, 6. Struggled to make an impact in the first half, often isolated up front. Did set up a chance for Timber with a clever move, but was largely contained by Konate. Substitutes. Christian Mosquera, 6. Thrown into the deep end after Saliba's early exit. Settled into the game well but had a slip in the second half that nearly gifted Salah a chance. Martin Degaard, 7. Came on for Marino and immediately injected intensity and purpose into Arsenal's pressing game. Helped the team push higher late on. Eberechi, 7. Brought fresh energy down the left. Found space smartly and linked up nicely with Degaard. His vision and creativity were bright spots in Arsenal's late push. Max Daumann, NAA. Came on too late to influence the game. Final thoughts. It was a frustrating afternoon for Arsenal, marked by effort and structure but undone by a single moment of brilliance, and a single moment of carelessness. Arteta's more reserved tactical plan nearly paid off, but the fine margins at this level are unforgiving. With Saliba's injury adding to the concern, the Gunners must regroup quickly as the season moves into a critical phase. Anfield aftermath. Arsenal's narrow loss raises tough questions. Arsenal's 1-0 defeat at Anfield was more than just a dropped result. It was a night that exposed vulnerabilities, tested squad depth, and reminded everyone just how thin the margins are at the top of the Premier League. The team had started with a defensive structure that initially held firm, even after the early setback of losing William Saliba to injury within the first 5 minutes. However, despite moments of resilience and strong individual performances, a stunning late free kick from Dominic Szoboszlai proved to be the difference. Saliba's injury casts a shadow. Post-match, it was confirmed that Saliba had been dealing with discomfort before kickoff. He was given the green light to start, but it quickly became clear that the risk hadn't paid off. His early substitution not only disrupted the defensive balance but may also mean a longer spell on the sidelines, putting Arsenal's defensive depth under immediate pressure. Mosquera steps up. Thrown into the spotlight under intense pressure, young defender Christian Mosquera showed maturity beyond his years. Aside from a misplaced pass in the second half that nearly led to a goal, his positioning and confidence were clear positives. His ability to step in so suddenly will give Mikel Arteta hope, but not comfort, given the mounting injury list. Missed opportunities in the final third. While Arsenal maintained their shape well throughout the game, there was a noticeable lack of attacking intent, particularly in the second half. The team struggled to generate meaningful chances, and the forward line often found itself isolated. Players like Gyökeres and Martinelli showed glimpses of danger, but the team lacked cohesion and decision-making in key moments. Arteta's conservative setup helped avoid chaos, but it also muted Arsenal's attacking strengths. Without more support in the final third, even tireless pressing and defensive discipline can only take the team so far. Repercussions beyond the scoreline. This defeat doesn't only halt Arsenal's unbeaten run, it raises concerns about momentum, mentality, and management of player fitness. With several key players already carrying knocks or sidelined, the timing of this loss couldn't be more delicate. Arsenal now face a critical stretch, and how they respond will shape their season. The international break offers time to regroup, but questions will remain. Can the defense cope without Saliba for an extended period? Will Arsenal find ways to be more direct and dangerous in attack? Is the current squad equipped to handle the physical and mental demands ahead? Looking ahead, there are still positives to take. The performance of Mosquera, the composure of Timber, and the fighting spirit of players like Declan Rice show there's resilience in this team. But turning that resilience into results will be crucial. Arsenal's next fixtures won't get easier, and the top of the table remains tightly contested. With small details deciding big matches, this is no time to hesitate.